Take this.
Target spotted.
Starlight never dies! Can you resist?
Weapons. They can be your first means of attack and your last means of defense. Many video games offer this in a fantastical interactive form, while others go a step further by allowing you to make others' lives miserable. That's what you get, asshole. This is a facet of design that I find to be incredibly important for games like Zenless Zone Zero, yet when I see people mention the weapons, they only really say that they're cool without any further elaboration. And that's what this video is for, to explain the significance of the weapons for each and every character, as well as give some historical background to explain why they're so prevalent in various forms of media. These are the weapons of Zenless Zone Zero, and why they're cool. For as long as mankind has roamed the earth, we've always had 2 arms and 2 legs to rely on for foraging and defending ourselves. So it only makes sense that over the course of human history we'd find various ways to weaponize our own bodies, with some specialized techniques putting more emphasis on one part of the body versus another. We may not have a whole lot of martial arts in this game, but the ones that we do have are quite unique. First in this category is Anton Ivanov of Belobog Heavy Industries, whose fighting style is more like street brawling than a formal martial art. He uses a gauntlet he calls Bro, which is stated to be a jackhammer, but is really just an oversized drill, as jackhammers in real life would be too big and heavy for a person to wield. He may not be the sharpest tool in the shed, but Anton above all else has spirit. He was hired by Belobog's former president Horst Belobog over a decade prior to the game's story, and has been loyal to them ever since. Try to pull a fast one on him, and he'll rightfully call you out, but he won't hesitate to help you out either, and encourage you to do your best like any good friend would. Or bro in his case. What he and his bro lack in training, they make up for in experience.
Straight to the Earth's core!
So Anton provides an example of on-field experience rather than formal training, but what about a martial artist that puts professionalism at the forefront? Von Lycon of Victoria Housekeeping has mechanical legs fitted with thrusters to increase his speed, and to form ice shards wherever he kicks, which make up the vast majority of his techniques. But he has been known to throw a devastating punch when necessary. This, from my perspective, seems to line up with the South Korean martial art of Taekwondo. Developed from ancient Korean martial arts like Taekwondo mixed with influence from Chinese and Japanese martial arts such as karate by General Choi Hong-hee in the 1940s, Taekwondo puts a heavy emphasis on kicks, especially for scoring points during competitions, but punches are still allowed if the opponent is too close. The main difference between a Taekwondo master and Lycon is that Lycon always starts with his right foot back in what's called the orthodox stance, while Taekwondo masters can swap between it and the southpaw stance instantly to suit their scenario. At the very least, his moves look to be inspired by Taekwondo, allowing this gentlemanly butler to keep his hands clean for serving his master proxies.
I'll eliminate any obstacle!
Going to the opposite corner of the ring, we have the former mercenary turned champion of the Sons of Caledon, Lighter. Like Anton, Lighter uses a gauntlet, except his gauntlet emits fire and is merely an extension of his own fist, which is what the opponents know all too well. So he's gotta be a boxer, right? Well, not quite. He has a couple of moves where he'll kick or use his knee to attack rather than just his fists, which leads me to believe he's more of a kickboxer. But spectacles, I hear you ask. Why kickboxing and not Muay Thai? Aren't they basically the same thing? From the outside they may look similar, but Muay Thai predates kickboxing by 700 years, originating in what was the Kingdom of Siam at the time, and the art has always put more emphasis on knees, elbows, and kicks for defense and counterattack. The term kickboxing itself was introduced in the 1960s by Japanese boxing promoter Osamu Noguchi after he combined techniques from Muay Thai and Karate to create the martial art in 1958. Kickboxer or not, Lighter will be the first to enter the fray, and ultimately be the last one standing.
Alright, put your greasy tits away, you preening slut.
Make way for the undefeated champion!
Lastly, for this small category, we have 2 members of Yunque Summit with moves seemingly inspired by different forms of Kung Fu, which there are a lot of. These characters are Pan Yin Hu and Yi Xuan. Not quite Jufufu's time yet. Pan Yin Hu is basically Po with drip, who uses his hat to cook meals with, and will also slide around on it. Personally, I wouldn't want to have panda fur and possibly dandruff in the food my fellow disciples are eating, but what do I know? Putting those oddities aside, he uses a few moves that indicate influence from Baji Quan. Known as 8 Extremities Fist, Baji Quan is a style of Kung Fu that focuses on powerful direct strikes with the goal of defeating an opponent swiftly in as few strikes as possible. No one knows exactly when it was created, but the most prevalent theory suggests it was created during the late Ming Dynasty by a wandering expert known as Lai, who passed the art down to a martial artist named Wu Zhang, leading him to spread his knowledge and teachings to others. The biggest evidence of Baji Quan and Pan Yin-Hu's moveset is his EX special, which is directly based on Baji Quan's most famous technique, the Tetsu Zonko. He's a Kung Fu panda that'll fix you up a hearty feast and his enemies a serving of pain.
Exclusive recipe made just for you! Hey!
The leader of Yunkui's summit, Yi Xuan, uses a lot of magic in her moveset as she's a mystic of Swabian Temple, so her style of Kung Fu was hard for me to pin down, but I believe her style was inspired by Choy Li Fut. This form of Kung Fu was established with its first school in 1836, with the art purposed around combining techniques from both the northern and southern styles of Shaolin Kung Fu. Palm strikes, elbow strikes, and sweeping kicks are all part of this martial art, just as Yi Xuan is shown doing across both cutscenes and gameplay. miHoYo even gave her 2 separate ultimates, while everyone else has just one. Yet she still doesn't match the power of Miyabi according to meta players. But regardless of the supposed meta, Yi Xuan will seal the fate of anyone or anything that threatens Waifei Peninsula.
Your fate is sealed.
Martial arts overall seem rarely used in Zenless, and it's a shame, because martial arts have been made popular in various forms of media such as video games, anime, and movies for decades, with actors like Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and Jet Li making huge impacts in the West with their differing styles of action. Though one film I believe to really have ignited our modern interest in martial arts is The Matrix in 1999. I mean, who looks at Keanu Reeves and Hugo Weaving throwing hands and not think it's the coolest shit ever? You know what else The Matrix helped popularize?
What the fuck is a kilometer?
Okay, it was really just guns. But in a fantasy world where every weapon is effective, ranged weapons can give great diversity in terms of character playstyle, whether it's playing keep away or a hit-and-run style of in-and-out gameplay, including, for example, a mechanical briefcase. Nicole Demore of the Cunning Hairs is as crafty as they come. Despite being constantly on the verge of bankruptcy, she always manages to get by while paying her employees fair wages and even allocating some money to rescues if needed. Her weapon is just about as crafty, being a simple briefcase on the outside which hides multiple guns and an ether cannon. While it may seem like a ridiculous and unrealistic weapon, America's Central Intelligence Agency actually made a weapon out of a briefcase during the Cold War by placing a Walther PPK, aka James Bond's signature handgun, inside the briefcase with a string connected to the trigger that was routed through a pulley system. Just flex your pinky and you have an assassination with absolute discretion and style. Style being something that Nicole is definitely known for putting up front. It's a weapon so seemingly out there that you just know she had to have stolen it from someone in one of her schemes. Or she's just lucky enough that she found it somewhere like how she found Ambi. An unorthodox weapon for a conceited leader. Billy Kay is what's known as an intelligent construct in New Eridu, who was formerly in the Sons of Caledon as their champion before Lyra took the role. Now working with the Cunning Hairs, he uses his signature dual revolvers to gun down any ethereal in sight, while making constant references to his favorite action heroes. Presumably the initial inspiration behind Billy's guns would be the cold single-action army revolvers that were in service as a standard handgun of the US military from 1873 to 1892. And one of the guns used by the notorious outlaw our Robo Deadpool is named after. Looking closely at Billy's guns, the barrel and cylinder do fold in the same way as a cold single action, unlike most modern revolvers where the barrel is fixed and the cylinder pops out to the side. However, the guns are far too large in proportion to be a direct match, looking more like a Taurus 608 competition revolver with a longer barrel. This is done intentionally so that the guns are easy to read from the third-person perspective. Surprisingly, revolvers that large aren't unheard of, as the Pfeiffer Zaliska .6 Hard Nitro Express revolver, that's a mouthful, is the largest revolver in the world, weighing 6 kilograms at a length of 55 centimeters. Regardless of inspiration, Billy is an expert gunman with exceptional skill to match his extravagant personality.
Starlight, shine bright!
Next is Grace Howard from Bellabog Heavy Industries, who uses a modified nail gun and shot grenades she keeps on her utility belt to get the job done. A nail gun makes sense, as construction workers like her often use this tool for framing large structures, installing hardwood floors, roofing, and several other applications. The way Grace uses this weapon proves that she doesn't have any firearms experience, randomly swinging it around while shuffling and flipping through the air. In contrast, Billy focuses his aim, leaning back or leaning into the shot to account for recoil and ensure every bullet hits the mark. Ultimately, Grace is a technician first, and a passionate one at that, recognized by her peers for her ingenuity when building smart construction machines with sentient AI, plus the weapons she fashions for fighting in the hollows. Though some are more spiteful with how they view her, nicknaming her the Frosty Cold Iron Witch for her tendency to hyperfixate on machines to the point of completely ignoring people. Do not let this woman anywhere near Billy, or she might just disassemble him.
Men, demolition!
Going from construction to law enforcement, we have Captain Zhu Yuan of the Criminal Investigation Special Response Team, who's issued a handgun called the Suppressor K-22. Normally a pistol that can rapid fire like a Glock 17 in full auto mode, it comes with multiple attachments that are stored on different parts of her public security uniform. These attachments include a triple shot muzzle that turns it into a mini shotgun, an underbarrel handle, and what I can best describe as a multi-rocket launcher plate. This weapon is definitely leaning into the realm of fantasy, as there's no handgun in the world that could possibly be retrofitted for buckshot cartridges or rockets. And that's precisely what makes it interesting. It's a Swiss Army knife in gun form that gets straight to the punch, which perfectly fits Zhu Yuan's by-the-books work ethic. And its versatility prepares her for virtually any scenario. A perfect tool for an officer who goes above and beyond to protect the citizens of New Eridu, and looks damn good while doing it. Fuck the police? I would.
Suppressor K-22! Maximum firepower!
On the opposite side of the law, we have one of my personal waifus, Bernice White from the Sons of Caledon. Her weapon of choice is a pair of flamethrowers, which she mixes the fuel for herself, along with any alcoholic beverages her fellow Outer Ring residents consume. The modern flamethrower was first invented in 1901 by German scientist Richard Fiedler, who dubbed it Flammenwerfer.
Flammenwerfer.
Flammenwerfer?
Flammenwerfer.
Flammenwerfer. Scheiße, das ist schwer auszusprechen. It became widely used for military purposes after the German army first deployed it to their shock troopers in World War I, up until it was retired by the US military, who deemed it inhumane after they used it in Vietnam. Which makes it all the more ironic that Bernice has such a friendly, outgoing, carefree personality with an infectious amount of positivity. Most of the time. It just goes to show how dark something or someone can get when you look beneath the surface. But thankfully Bernice hasn't decided to watch the world burn just yet. For her, I would walk through the flames of hell, for no fire could ever be as hot as this bombshell.
Alrighty! This is my latest formula! Bottoms up! Dunzo!
Continuing on, we have Harumasa of Section 6 who uses a bow, but it's not like any bow in our world, as it can split into two swords for close-range engagement, and its string is made of an electric-based energy. The origins of the bow and arrow are unknown, but archaeologists have estimated them to have been invented 60 to 70,000 years ago, with evidence such as arrowheads at sites like Sabudu Cave and Pinnacle Point in South Africa, making the bow one of humanity's most ancient weapons. The complexity of Harumasa's bow, plus how skillful he is at handling it, shows us exactly why he's an elite operative, despite having an illness called Ether Aptitude Regression Syndrome, which basically means he can't be in a hollow for as long as other people for corruption, and that he's got a shortened lifespan. Unfortunately, he also has a habit of exploiting this fact to constantly ask for sick leave, which may give the first impression that he's lazy. But when shit gets serious, this charming fellow will lock in with a steady aim and strike swiftly like the wind.
With a clear mind, arrows fly through.
Sticking with military-type characters, we have two members of the Obsidian Squadron who have guns like Billy, the first one being their sniper. Trigger has a specialized visor to augment her altered vision that resulted from an ethereal counter during the fall of the old capital. Her sniper rifle is even more specialized, as it can fire single shots at a faster rate of fire than any real-life sniper rifle, including the M82 Barrett, without the need to eject bullet casings, despite cutscenes from Mole in the Hole and Out of Sight clearly showing that her gun does in fact fire bullets. Also, it can fire like an assault rifle, because why the hell not? We have rifles like the M16A2 in the US that can go full auto, but nothing like this. Definitely not realistic, but we're talking about 3D anime girls made in China, so it is what it is. What makes Trigger's rifle even crazier is that the trigger and grip can detach from the main portion of the rifle to become a handgun? Yeah, New Eridu has the technology to turn this into this. What kind of genius gunsmiths are they hiring at the Defense Force? We can't be sure, but the way she shakes it, I can't believe it. I ain't never seen an ass like that.
Sniper's Creed. One shot, one kill.
The other member of Obol I put in this category is Captain Magus, who was fatally injured during the fall of the old capital, but her mind was digitized, allowing her to live on as an intelligent construct. And of all the bodies they could have given her, they made her a talking gun that's attached to the tail of her clone, and fitted with 50 caliber high explosive rounds and military grade high energy lasers. What kind of mad scientists are they hiring at the Defense Force? It's no wonder that she's so on edge all the time when she is literally a weapon to be used by the military without the basic free will to send a text without aid. Yet she still manages to break the laws of physics by pulling her clone around with her own strength alone. Based on the cylinder behind her mouth, I would assume that it contains the military-grade high-energy laser she mentions, but I don't see any feasible way of feeding 50 caliber rounds through her body. Unless it's through the tail, perhaps? That would be an awkward checkup.
Today is fine day in California. Huh? Choose.
Captain Magus might not be great at being personable, but she will rain fire on anyone who stands against her squad. Wait a minute. Magus looks somewhat like a revolver, but I could have sworn there was someone else with...
I was thinking, since we have the upper hand, we might as well call it a day.
Oh right, Pulchra's playable. Pulchra Fellini is a gun for hire that was contracted to target the Sons of Caledon, but after encountering Bernice, she eventually joined them. Her weapons of choice are dual revolvers like Billy, but Pulchra's guns have blades attached to them for close quarters combat. Take away the blades and her revolvers are surprisingly realistic in their design, almost looking one-to-one with the Colt Python, which was produced from 1955 to 2005 for its first generation, with a second generation beginning production in 2020. Pulchra has an air of mystery to her, and she has a hard time making friends, largely due to her former best friend betraying her and leaving her broke. Ouch. From this backstabbing and possibly Bernice's obsession over her tail, Pulchra's gained a killer instinct where she'll go into every fight with a focused aggression, which is reflected in her voice actress going full-on angry cat in her combat lines.
Sneak attack!
It's interesting to see a character that was just a mid-chapter boss fight become playable, which Mihoyo totally didn't plan from the start and only did because fans demanded it. So you better hope you don't end up on her list, or Pulchra will make you her prey. And that is not meant to be a double entendre.
Perfect shot! Make it fun for me!
Lastly for this category, we have Ukunami Yuzuha, who runs a popular ghost stories forum called Spook Shack. She uses an umbrella gun and homemade bombs alongside her small Tanuki companion, Kama. Like the briefcase gun, the umbrella gun seems to have origins in espionage, as in 1978, Bulgarian novelist Georgy Markov was headed to the BBC in England when he briefly met a man with a foreign accent who happened to be picking up an umbrella as Markov felt a sharp pain in his thigh. He then came down with a fever, dying from ricin poisoning 4 days after that encounter, and a medical examiner found a tiny pellet less than 2 millimeters in diameter in his leg. What's even cooler is that Georgian weapons collector David H. Fink documented an umbrella with a rifle barrel that was dated back over a century prior to the Markov assassination, with cane guns being patented even before that in 1823. Quite the fascinating story for a weapon that's wielded by a storytelling youngster who loves to prank people. Yuzuha's the last person you'd expect to have something used in spy films like Kingsman: The Secret Service or by Batman villain the Penguin, but that's Zenless for ya. Perhaps her weapon is meant to be symbolic of her past as a child experiment, or maybe they just didn't know what to give her and picked it from a random selection. But when this cheeky girl enters the fight, her enemies will surely have a blast. Of all the bad puns I could have made.
Come on! Don't be nervous!
Overall, the ranged weapons of Zenless Zone Zero are pretty cool, with most of them being based on guns, and a good portion of those being revolvers specifically. Maybe a future agent could be a bank robber in a suit with a shotgun or a carbine like in the 1995 hit crime drama Heat starring Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. Or maybe go further outside of gun territory with crossbows, shurikens, tomahawks, slingshots, Or go full Indiana Jones and give someone a whip to use in combat. I mean, Lucy makes reference to having a whip, yet we never see her use it. Complete missed opportunity. Yet amongst many weapons enthusiasts and anime fans, there's nothing that quite gets them pumped up like... So originally I meant to cover every single character and their weapon in this one video, but as you can probably tell from the runtime, it was getting a bit too long, so I need to make this into a two-parter. Originally I planned to release this video about a month after my last Zenless Zone video, but I procrastinated on this a lot. Between working a night shift job at a truck dealership that feels so mentally draining sometimes that I don't want to do anything productive at home aside from cleaning a few times a week, helping out with renovations at my home where I ended up dropping a vacuum cleaner causing my toenail to rip out, and helping a friend of mine with a Grand Theft Auto 5 roleplay series that he created called Pixel X, I've come up with so many excuses for my own tardiness, but I can assure you that once this video is out, work on the next one will get started immediately. After all, if I don't get started, how the fuck do I expect to finish it? So if you did enjoy yourself watching this video, consider leaving a like on it and subscribing to the channel. But whatever you do, I wish you all a spectacular rest of your day.